There was nothing about the morning that suggested it would be remembered, if it would be remembered at all. The sun rose without hesitation, slipping quietly above the horizon as it had done countless times before. It did not blaze or dazzle, it did not demand attention. Instead, it arrived softly, like a thought that passes through the mind without leaving a trace. The light stretched gently across the sky, touching rooftops, fields, and empty roads with equal indifference. In a small town that could have been anywhere or nowhere at all, people woke up. Not all at once, not dramatically. One by one, like scattered notes in a quiet melody. A man stirred in his bed, not because of a dream or a noise, but simply because his body had decided it was time. He opened his eyes slowly, blinking against the faint morning light that filtered through thin curtains. For a moment he lay still, not thinking about anything in particular. Then he sat up, placed his feet on the cool floor, and began his day. There was no significance to his actions. He washed his face, brushed his teeth, and dressed in clothes that were neither new nor worn enough to notice. He did not rush. He did not linger. Everything moved at a pace that felt natural, as though the day itself had set the rhythm. In another part of town, a woman stood by her window, holding a cup of tea that had already begun to cool. She watched the street below, where nothing much was happening. A bicycle passed by. A stray dog wandered along the edge of the road. The leaves of a nearby tree shifted slightly in a breeze that came and went without announcement. She was not waiting for anything. She was not thinking deeply about anything either. She simply stood there, present in a moment that asked nothing of her. Across the street, a child sat at a table, slowly eating breakfast. There was no excitement in the air, no sense that the day would bring anything unexpected. The child glanced at a clock on the wall, not out of urgency, but habit. Time moved forward, steady and unremarkable. The town itself seemed to exist in a quiet agreement with the day. Nothing would happen that demanded attention. Nothing would interrupt the gentle flow of hours. And so, the day continued. Morning drifted into late morning, almost without being noticed. The sun climbed higher, though not in a way that felt dramatic. Shadows shortened. The air warmed slightly. People went about their routines. A shopkeeper opened his store and arranged items on shelves with quiet care. He did not expect a rush of customers, and none came. A few people entered, browsed, and left. Transactions were made without conversation beyond what was necessary. A bus passed through town, stopping briefly before moving on again. Those who boarded it did so without urgency. Those who remained behind did not seem to mind. Somewhere, a door closed softly. Somewhere else, a radio played faintly, its sound barely reaching beyond the room it occupied. There were no sudden events, no interruptions. Even the smallest moments seemed to settle into place without resistance. At midday, the sun reached its highest point. It did not feel like a peak. It did not feel like a moment of importance. It was simply another part of the day, unfolding as it should. People ate lunch, not together in celebration, not in silence of sorrow, but in the quiet normalcy of habit. Plates were filled and emptied, glasses were lifted and set down. Conversations, where they occurred, were brief and without depth. A man sat alone at a small table, eating slowly. He did not check the time. He did not think about the past or the future. He simply ate. Outside, the town remained unchanged. A cloud moved across the sky, casting a temporary shadow that passed as gently as it arrived. The breeze shifted direction, then stilled again. Nothing lingered long enough to matter. Afternoon came quietly. If there was a transition, it was subtle. So subtle that it might have been missed entirely. The light softened just slightly. The air cooled by an almost unnoticeable degree. A woman walked down the street carrying a small bag. She didn't seem to be in a hurry. Her steps were even, measured, as though she had nowhere urgent to be. A boy kicked a small stone along the road, watching it roll ahead of him before nudging it forward again. There was no goal, no destination, just movement. A window opened somewhere, another closed. A clock ticked in a room where no one paid attention to it. The day continued. If someone had been asked in that moment what was happening, they might have struggled to answer. Not because nothing was happening, but because everything that was happening was too ordinary to name. And yet it was real. Every small action, every quiet movement, every passing second, it all existed fully, even if it did not demand to be remembered. Late afternoon arrived without ceremony. The sun began its gradual descent, though it did so without spectacle. The sky did not blaze with color. It shifted gently, almost reluctantly, as though it preferred to remain unnoticed. People began to return home, not all at once, not with relief or exhaustion, simply because it was time. The man who had woken earlier in the day walked back along the same road he had taken in the morning. His pace was unchanged. His thoughts, if he had any, did not show on his face. The woman who had stood by the window earlier now sat in a chair, her tea replaced with something else. She did not reflect on the day. There was nothing to reflect on. Or so it seemed. Lights began to appear in windows, one by one, soft, steady, and without urgency. Evening settled over the town the way a blanket settles over a resting body, gently, naturally, without resistance. The sounds of the day faded, not abruptly, but gradually. Footsteps became less frequent. Voices softened. Doors closed for the last time. Inside homes, small routines continued. Dinner was prepared and eaten. Dishes were washed and set aside. Chairs were moved slightly out of place, then left as they were. A television flickered in one room. In another, silence remained undisturbed. No one marked the passage of the day as anything unusual. No one paused to consider that this day, like all others, would never come again. Night arrived, not as an event, but as a quiet conclusion. The sky darkened, the last traces of light disappeared without drawing attention to themselves. People prepared for sleep. Lights were turned off, curtains were drawn, beds were entered without ceremony. The man lay down, closing his eyes as he had done the night before. The woman sat for a moment longer before finally turning off the light beside her. The child, already half asleep, drifted into dreams that would not be remembered. The town grew still, not completely silent. There were always small sounds, distant and indistinct, but still enough that the day felt complete. And then, without announcement, it ended. No record was made. No history was written. No one would look back and say that this day had mattered more than any other. And yet, it had existed, fully, completely. Every moment, every breath, every quiet action, it had all taken place, just as real as any extraordinary event. But unlike those events, it did not ask to be remembered. It did not need to be, because in its quiet, unremarkable way, it had already been enough. It had been lived, and perhaps that was all it was ever meant to be. If this story brought you a sense of calm, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a quiet moment. Channel name, Heaven for Sleepers, where ordinary moments become peaceful journeys.